from the San Andreas Election Commission. I will be the moderator for this debate tonight. Just to give a general rundown of the rules that the candidates agreed to. This will be a round-robin format, meaning each candidate will have to go first for each different question, just for fairness' sake. Each candidate will have about a minute and a half to kind of speak their piece on different topics or questions. And from there, we'll try to get through it. Before we get into the questions, I'm going to allow each candidate to introduce themselves. So to start off, on my left here, Mr. Stanislav, you have some time to introduce yourself here.
Okay. Good day, everybody. My name is Nikolai Stanislav. I am coming from Ukraine to this beautiful country of America. I am a political philosopher and a political activist as well. I'm a hardworking person. I work multiple jobs. I help the communities around and the small little businesses. What else? I thank you for everyone coming here.
Mr. Nash, go ahead.
Woo! Hello, everyone. Thank you for showing up. My name is Mon Nash. I'm clearly running for state representative. My platform is basically, I call it the 5 pillars of Nash. I'm running on small business reform, transparency in law, a better legal avenue for racing and drag racing of cars, and transparency in real estate, and also higher medical worker pay. Thank you.
Representative Lawson.
Good morning. My name is Bex Lawson. I am a state representative of San Andreas. Before we get started here with the rest of my introduction, I'd like to thank Public Works for putting this stage together. It's always excellent to see their hard work on display and to have such a nice place to just debate my peers at. I'm the founder of Clout, a lifestyle and entertainment brand, and I've been state representative for about 2 months. In that time, I have worked with Zona staff, especially Dr. James Wilson, to help establish the Department of Human Services. I have worked on the state constitution, and I have helped to enable a lot of citizen-led projects around the state. I'm hoping to continue to do that by being reelected. Thank you.
Mr. Taylor.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Castor Taylor. I am the current owner of Burger Shots. I want to thank each and every one of you for coming out here tonight. I appreciate you guys showing the respect that comes to knowing your politicians and to respect the right to vote. I also want to thank Public Works for coming out here and setting up the stage. It's quite amazing. I've gotten an honor to get to meet each and every one of you out there. For those of you I have not yet met, I look forward to meeting you guys this coming week. My platform I'm running on is to increase opportunities for employment for Los Santos, for allowing individuals to have an honest living. As an individual and a business owner, I have made it my mission to provide equal opportunity for all individuals in Los Santos, no matter their background. And I'm fighting for equal pay and protection of all workers out there. One of the other options I also would I'm looking to work in improving, as one of my colleagues has already mentioned, is pay for medical services. They are an essential service to this fine city, and I feel as though they are underpaid and underrepresented. And finally, I would like to look into doing a deep dive study of the criminal reform system. I've seen time and time again that the prison system as it stands currently is not working as it currently stands and continues to put out habitual repeat offenders out there. We need to find out why there are repeat offenders, and we need to do a study as to how we can reduce the criminal offenses out there. I would also like to see about putting out an option for those that are non-violent criminals to contribute back to society by doing volunteer work. I feel like these types of options need to be explored, and I look forward to working with all these individuals on this stage, no matter what the results are. I appreciate each and every one of you for coming out.
Thank you, Mr. Taylor.
Mhm.
Mr. Benning.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is William Benning. I've been a citizen of the city for 4
Hey,
months.
Can we get medics over here? We got somebody
Like
down.
Mr. Castor, I believe in that there should be reformation of the criminal justice system. I believe most of that is already being addressed with the addition of Department of Corrections. Also, my platform mainly consists of bringing new jobs to the city. One of my ideas is bringing an animal control officer to the city where we can pick up these stray dogs and cats, bring them to facilities such as a kennel and a cat cafe. Both facilities will be owned by a business owner, whoever wants to open that up. And then eventually the outcome will be, for a nominal fee, you can adopt a cat or dog, because I know that's something that people are interested in. Also, I believe that there should be alternate penalties within the city as far as, punishments. I believe in, community working, like kind of like doing jobs around the city as your punishment. That's all I have to say, and thank you. And I hope you consider me.
Hey, brother, can you take off your mask, please?
No, I'm kind of suffering from the...
Mr. Nark, go ahead.
Oh, hey there, right? My name's James Narke. I work for Public Works, also known as Beaver over there. As long as I can remember, I've been working for Public Works, and you're going to hear all about my policy during these debates. So I just want to say, if I'm voted in, I'm going to continue being boots on the ground, seeing the real problems for the city. And I'm not going to just sit behind a desk. Thank you very much.
Woo! Vote James Nark, that's right.
Alrighty,
much
thank
for
you,
speech.
Mr. Nark. So, we'll now move on to the next portion here. Different questions and topics that we will be asking the candidates. We're first going to start with Mr. Stanislav, and then go from my left to my right. So, the question is, recently released statistics indicate that crime is on the rise. What are your plans to reduce crime as a state representative?
Okay. Crimes. Everybody tells you there is crimes. Well, do we know why there is crimes on the streets? Well, more or less. We might know, we might not know. We all know everyone comes from different backgrounds and different environments. I think those people are just those that are committing crimes have not been given an opportunity. With that being said, the only way we can reduce the crimes is to improve the education and to form men and women as workers around the state and not let them grow up, how I like to say, wild. With that being said, I think a little bit of more, I will not say gun control because I don't want to control the guns. Everybody should have a gun, as I said before. But more thorough background checks and all that stuff should be as well. But mostly education and give people opportunities and chances.
If you guys
That's what I have to
wish
say for now.
Go ahead and go have seats if you wish.
Thank you, Mr. Stanislav. Mr. Nash.
All right. So the question about crime is a systemic problem in our city. And I don't think punishing criminals more is going to do anything. I think providing them with opportunities via small businesses that are currently being held back by the government would definitely decrease the crime rate. For example, some things we could do to incentivize people to not do crimes is allowing small businesses to choose their own pay rates for their own employees. when it comes to like working at a car dealership or like at a restaurant, you're stuck at a fixed pay. And I believe that much like how the government acts, there should be different levels of pay for seniority. I feel like if we could do enough reform when it comes to small business, we could at least entice people not to do crime.
I bet he's shouting right now.
And that's it. Thank you.
You're shouting, Puck.
Oh my gosh! Yeah!
Representative Lawson, crowd, please try to be respectful. Thank you.
So this is a great question because it's something where in my time in this office, I've already been hands-on with this. Like I said earlier, I helped establish the Department of Human Services by assisting Dr. James Wilson as he set up the framework and infrastructure, and I also helped push through standard operating procedures for law enforcement officers and EMS who are struggling with someone who is committing crime or acting out due to being in mental distress or needing aid. I think right now what you're seeing is a system that is overwhelmed. You're seeing a system that does not have enough tools in its tool belt. Crime is a multifaceted thing. So must be fighting crime. I think there is no silver bullet. I think what we need is government infrastructure. We need people who are there to listen and aid LEO and EMS in their day-to-day positions. And we need people who are willing to look at solutions that are more complex and far-reaching than just throwing money at the problem and raising wages. I think what we need is to continue to enable departments like the Department of Human Services to do work to address root causes while also supporting LEO and doing what
Representative Lawson.
She may be a bit speechless.
Yeah. Let's give her a second to clear her throat. She looks okay.
Sorry about that. I saw a bird, and it was such an impressive bird. I guess I lost my speech for a moment. Just in general, we're going to continue to build infrastructure, support branches of EMS and LEO, and tackle the root issues.
Alrighty, thank you, Representative Lawson. Mr. Taylor.
Thank you. Well, as I mentioned earlier, that criminal reform is one of the things I really would like to have looked into. I want to start by doing a deep dive study as to why the crimes have been committed, what types of crimes are committed most frequently, and see about how we can remedy those issues. I think the strongest thing is that there are not enough work opportunities and fair wages out there to provide that's causing people to look for other ways of being able to support their families and their livelihoods and, their need for speed. So I think one of the strongest ways of being able to deter criminal activity is going to be to produce and provide additional employment opportunities out there. As I said, with Burger Shop, we do hire as an equal opportunity employer, and we want to make sure that other companies out there share the same ideals in regards to providing opportunities to everybody, no matter their backgrounds, no matter where they come from, and provide equal pay for all. Also, I believe that with said criminal reform, we also need to look at our emergency services. Believe that they are currently understaffed and overworked, which produces a very hostile environment, not only for themselves, but for those that they're involved in. So we need to look at providing them additional resources and looking into having time off.
Your time is up, sir.
There you go.
Okay, granted that there's an issue with the pay within the city and lack of jobs, but it's safe to say that many of us are not criminals. We work hard. We use our head, the kind of business that we want to open up.
Be quiet, please.
And we just work. I mean, some people are wired differently. Let's take that into consideration. Some people just love the allure of crime, there's no stopping them. And while I was looking at the criminal code when I first came into the city, and by the way, I've written a piece of legislation, theft of services, which protects everyone in this city from being deceived from money transfers if you promise money through invoices. So you're protected that way. I also have other legislation on the way. But we really need to seriously look at the penalties. Strong penalties will deter crime 100%. Look, there's some crimes for drug dealing that are less penalized than there are, say, animal cruelty. I'm not saying that we should take away the ability for people to earn money from some criminal enterprises, because crime's always going to be here. It seems like it's a staple of San Andreas. But I really think we need to look at the root cause, and that's actually more jobs. I have a plan to add 4 different jobs to the city.
Your time is up, Mr. Benning. I apologize.
That's okay.
Are you able to keep it to a whisper, please?
Mr. Nark.
Oh, hey there, Ray. I view crime as an offshoot of employment concerns in this city. If we focus on employment in this city and we get people away from fighting over the money that's just in their neighborhood and having them be able to make their own, we're going to see a lot of change in lowering of crime.
In the crowd in front of,
let's look at our current careers and everything we have and work on making sure these careers are engaging and want people to keep them, not just that they're available, but that people want to stay them. I spoke to some used car dealers recently, and they were saying that the palm coin market, with how low it is, has really been affecting people wanting to spend money. So we need to make sure to prop up these jobs and make sure that people are able to go to work and make money when the jobs are there, with when people put so much money into the market. Thank you.
Because unlikely they saw something that happened.
Thank you, Mr. Nark. All right, so we will move on to our next topic here. We will start with Mr. Nash first. When it comes to the law, retribution is the act of making the victim whole, and rehabilitation is the act of reforming the criminal. Which do you feel is more important?
So I think to decrease the recidivism rate in our state would probably come down to mental health stuff, or at least alternatives to just straight up incarceration. I know that we now have a DOC, which I'm really proud of. I think they can provide alternatives to help rehabilitate patients while they're incarcerated. And when it comes to mental health issues, I think that Parsons needs to be boosted and funded like tenfold. I know that the psychological staff at Mount Zona is completely understaffed, and they need a lot more people. And I think increasing support from the government to them would definitely help with that. And I don't think that just locking up criminals for a certain amount of time is going to solve anything. We gotta think outside the box and focus on alternatives. Thank you.
Representative Lawson.
I think it's impossible to say which one is more important, because the two work in tandem. That is the nature of our justice system. We have rehabilitative justice, and I think definitely the state could put more resources in that, and I think you will see that with the Department of Corrections. But I also think retributive justice and jail time and stuff, it depends on what you're trying to address. I know right now LEO feel as though there need to be harsher penalties for some things, or stacking penalties, right? But that wouldn't apply to a first-time criminal, or wouldn't apply to someone who isn't part of a criminal organization. I think what we need to do is continue to hone our justice system on both fronts, look for solutions, and to just be ready to adapt to the state. I mean, I think if you've been in the state for more than 2 weeks, you crack down on something and something else will pop right back up. It's like whack-a-mole. So I don't think there's one prescriptive approach that we can, stand behind. Instead, it's going to be more of a marathon of trying different policies and, again, embracing both approaches.
Thank you, Representative Lawson. Mr. Taylor?
The one that just passes.
Thank you. So when it comes to reform or versus retribution, I feel the best route is going to be rehabilitation and reform. Those who are incarcerated, we don't know really their ultimate background as to what caused them to lead a life of crime, or even to just take that single act that pushes them over the edge. We should be able to provide them with options for therapy in order to deep dive into what caused it and see if we can find ways for those individuals that have been found guilty of criminal activity to be able to move on and live productive, active lives in the community, and also to provide educational opportunities for them to be able to earn an honest living. And also, finally, just looking at the overall penal code to see about reviewing the punishment levels for the various crimes. Some of them seem that they may overdo with regards to the criminal code, and some of them just need to be overhauled altogether. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Taylor. Mr. Benning?
As a lawyer in the city doing private practice, I come across a lot of victims, and I put victims over punishment. Yeah, we could punish people all we want. I do believe that there are consequences and repercussions. You do the crime, you do the time. Everything should be, I believe all the penalties should be harsher. I'm sure that there's some people on this stage with me have delved into crime. You know, maybe put a hit or 2 or 3 on another person. You know, I think they should be punished, but that's near here or there. Like I said, I'm more for the victim. I believe the victim should get their day in court. The victim should testify, and if the person is found guilty, then they should serve the maximum time possible. And yeah, maybe give them a little bit of rehabilitation. But let's be honest, most likely you're going to be a reoffender if you go through the system. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Benning. Mr. Nark?
Hey there. Rehabilitation. I believe in second chances. Let's not make ex-cons suffer for their crimes after they get out. I think that the number one thing that will help everyone is to give them hope for change after they get out, instead of the concern that this felony or whatever crime they have will just keep them down and keep them in the same place that brought them to do this crime. Why would they change if they have no hope for the future? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Nark.
Enjoy that, Reggie.
Give me one moment.
You're welcome, Reggie.
You.
Who are we voting for? Okay.
Alrighty, for this next one, we're going to start with Representative Lawson. So, this one I think has been a pretty important question amongst your constituents. This goes for everybody on the stage. What will you do to ensure that you remain active in your governmental role and responsibilities? And if you weren't able to perform your duties, what steps would you take to ensure that governmental processes continue?
Great question. What I can tell you is that my current role in government has been a little less writing legislation and being behind a desk and more herding cats, which is surprisingly necessary for this role. I helped establish the Office of Press Secretary, which gave the public and press unprecedented access to the state government. I also hosted an impromptu town hall when businesses and the Chamber of Commerce at the time and businesses were having difficulty communicating. I think being a facilitator and helping to enable these communications has been my greatest strength throughout my term. That's something I intend to keep doing. Now, should I need to step away due to health issues? Certainly possible. I mean, I was attacked twice during my term and required hospitalization, surgeries, the whole 9 yards. I think for that, what you need is having a system set up. I was able to let people know what was up. I was able to have fail safes, and my scheduling was done well in advance. So I don't believe I actually missed any deadlines as a result. Proper communication can solve a lot. That's something that I've proven is a strength of mine, and that's something I would continue focusing on should I be reelected.
Thank you, Representative Lawson. Mr. Taylor.
Thank you. First and foremost, as far as how to remain active in the position and in the government, I've always found that politics are quite important in the city. They dictate a lot of what we do for our day-to-day life. As such, I make it a point of mine to be accessible by each and every individual in the city. I want to make sure that I have a weekly time that I set aside just to make sure that anybody has an opportunity to come up and ask questions, such as like in a casual environment, such as like maybe perhaps a coffee talk, or at the office at the City Hall. I also want to make sure that everybody here feels comfortable to approach either myself or any of our fellow candidates if they ever have any concerns they would like to bring up to consideration. I feel that your government should be working for you, not the other way around. If I were ever to be indisposed and unable to complete the duties of the office, I will gracefully step aside, make sure that all the work that I have done and represented continued by my fellow colleagues and made known to the general public. But I do appreciate the consideration, and thank you all.
Thank you, Mr. Taylor. Mr. Benning.
I spend a lot of time in the city. Generally, it's usually about 15 hours a day. I'll always be available for people to talk to me. I will have weekly open houses, probably at Little Teapot upstairs. My door will always be open to everyone. I will listen to all your problems. I will not be afraid to go into certain areas of the city and come and talk to you. Whether you're a member of a gang, whether you're a member of an MC, PD, EMS, members of the judicial system. I will go anywhere and everywhere to talk to each and every one of you if you have an issue that comes up. If there's legislation that needs to be enacted, I will write up a brief and I will submit it to my fellow candidates or fellow representatives, and we will get to it right away. There will be no delays, and you know, I am looking forward to serving you as one of your next state representatives.
Mr. Nark.
Oh, hey there. I work on dealing with unintended situations. I want to be open and honest about what I'm working on, and with my reps and with everyone in the city. I know if I'm not around that people will know what I'm working on and be able to push that forward. I plan on being accessible. I plan on being boots on the ground. I plan on being seen. So I hope this situation never comes to pass. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Nark. Mr. Stanislav, I apologize. I slipped my mind. We skipped you last question. We'll have you answer this one, and we'll go back for the prior one. I apologize, Mr. Stanislav.
Well, this one will be rather short. I mean, as from now on, this won't affect me. You'll always see me on the street. You'll always see me driving a cab. You'll always see me doing something and doing something for someone or helping someone to get settled or like this. If there is any problems, discussions, questions, you come to me and you talk to me. And if I cannot attend to your problem, obviously I will let you know. I will make a public announcement that I'm not available for whatever reason, but I doubt about that. But yeah, that's pretty much it about this problem, about this question.
All right. We'll do Mr. Nash for this question, and then we'll go back to Ms. Stanislav for the prior question.
Could you repeat the question, please?
Yes, I can. What will you do to ensure that you remain active in your governmental role and responsibilities And if you weren't able to perform your duties, what steps would you take to ensure that governmental processes continue?
So, as an ADA, my position sort of has turned into like a liaison for the DOJ. I'm always out there talking to people. I'm trying to show them like what good the ADA does. And through that, I've met a lot of great people. And I've also developed a skill that I'm very proud of. I'm a very good listener. I take great notes. And I'm always willing to listen to someone's side. And I'm also extremely active. I pride myself on being able to listen to someone's problem and break it down and translate it into something legal. And I think that skill would translate extremely well into being a state rep. I love having a conversation with someone. I love hearing their problems. I love hearing their concerns. And I love working with them and seeing how we could fix that, how we could approach that problem from a legal way and possibly make some legislation around it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Nash. So before we move on to the next one, I'll ask you the prior question, Mr. Stanislav. When it comes to the law, retribution is the act of making the victim whole, and rehabilitation is the act of reforming the criminal. Which do you feel is more important?
First of all, I think we should make full use of incarcerated people, that being rehabilitated or for to grow on their personal own skill, as when they come outside of the bars, they will come maybe, hopefully, a better person and a skilled worker. For example, instead of keeping them locked up forever, I would say at least between 8 hours to 12 hours to be put for work, to work in, I don't know, whatever construction of a new building, repairing the roads, fixing up the poles, planting trees and all of this stuff. They should be made useful and not be locked away and isolated and made more angrier than they come inside the jail. Well, that's pretty much it I have to say about this.
Alrighty, thank you, Mr. Stanislav. So for the next question here, we will start with Mr. Taylor. So, as a state representative, impeachment is one of the powers that you would hold. In what situation would you exercise this power to call a vote to impeach a member of government?
So the question is when would I exercise the right for impeachment? To
call a vote for impeachment,
call a vote,
yes.
yes, of course. So anytime that we find that there is an individual in government that has authority, that has corrupted either the morality of the position, broken the law, or is no longer in representation of the people of Los Santos, I feel that is when it's necessary to voice our right to call for a vote for impeachment. We are here to work for the people, not the other way around.
Thank you, Mr. Taylor. Mr. Benning?
Oh, this is one of my favorite questions right now. There might be a current situation right now where that should be invoked, but I'm not going to go on with the details. I think one of the main things is if you're responsible for you're holding a high public office and you're responsible for attempted hits on 3 individuals within the city, I think there should be immediate action against that person. Like I said earlier, there should be consequences and repercussions to your actions in the city. I'm very strong on the law, and even if I would do something myself, I would immediately step down if I was involved in anything that wasn't that was opposite to the oath that I take to the office. Thank you.
Mr. Nark?
Either a violent crimes or gross negligence of duty. If they hurt the city or its people, they need to be booted. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Nark. Mr. Stanislav.
Well, this question is pretty clear for everyone and what it means and what it is. Of course, if one of the members of the party is not feeling very well mentally and it affects its duty and its judgment towards its what they are supposed to do, obviously the vote will be cast for impeachment. And if there are some shady, dodgy things as well, impeachment and or whatever comes with that stuff. That's all I have to say. Thank you very much.
Mr. Nash.
So this is an interesting question. When it comes to impeaching certain people in office, like maybe a state rep or something, that would probably require some sort of special council or committee outside of us to deal with that. And then when we're talking about that, I think when it comes to dealing with corruption at the higher levels in any other faction of our government, there probably should be an oversight committee for each one, filled with people who are not partial to them, and they could make the decision fairly and be like, okay, this person did something clearly corrupt, and it's just not their peers deciding on that. I think there needs to be oversight when it comes to this certain thing or this type of thing, and not just, you know, people of your in the same cohort or group deciding for you, because that could lead to more corruption. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Nash. Representative Lawson.
Well, I think there's a few categories in which impeachment would be appropriate. You know, gross negligence or incompetence, extended leaves of absence without conversation or communication. I mean, impeachment is a very serious issue, and of course, we would have to examine anything case by case. It is a tool in our tool set. It is something we would be prepared to carry out should it be done, but I think the circumstances for that are relatively clear as is.
Alrighty. Thank you, Representative Lawson. So, we did get everyone correct. I'm sorry. Yes, okay. All right, so next question, we will start with Mr. Benning. Should you be elected, what changes will the average citizen see in their lives?
Well, like I stated in my opening statement, I intend to bring in some more jobs, a different kind of variety of jobs to the city. I'm going to change many of these motor vehicle laws. In particular, I know there's a lot of people in this audience that have been stopped due to reckless driving. I intend to separate the misdemeanor from the felony. Misdemeanor will be considered careless driving, and the felony will still be considered reckless driving. I feel like that there's been too much free hand, whether people get the felony over the misdemeanor. They should be separated. It should also give an opportunity for people to dispute it in traffic court, which is coming soon. And from there, they can get the charge downgraded from reckless driving to careless driving. As far as jobs, I intend to bring, as I said, the Animal Control Act of 2021. I also intend to bring, I'm going to suggest to the state pool cleaning, and also I'm also going to suggest, possibly farming, and also, crabbing and lobster traps as an alternate job. Also, there'll be special instruments implemented that would allow restaurants to get some of these materials so they can make their dishes. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Benning. Your time is up. Mr. Nark.
Hey there, Ray. Well, you should see careers become more engaging and just something people want to do more. You know, something I'll work on representing people when they work in their business, and just making sure that when you go to a job, you're actually able to, I don't know, work and make money doing it. Another item, sort of as my previous compatriot said, is I want to look at traffic rules. I think one specific thing I'd be looking at is speed limits. I think they're quite low, and I think the city has some beautiful roads and some beautiful vehicles that should be allowed to go at much higher speeds on some of our larger laned highways. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Nark. Mr. Stanislav.
Can you repeat the question, please?
Puck, that's gross.
Correct. Sorry. Should you be elected, what changes will the average citizen see in their lives?
Night, Max.
Well, like I said previously, obviously a better education reform, and with that being implemented, that will come with teaching of every man and woman who wishes to learn a new skill of line of work. You know, from fixing up a painter, a welder, you know, working in forestry, farmer, anything that can be taught, a bartender, you know, by creating this educational classes and professional schools. That's all I have to say.
Thank you,
All
Mr.
right.
Stanislav. Mr. Nash, go ahead. Sorry.
So if I became state rep, the average citizen would see a lot of changes in the way small businesses are currently working. There would be a tiered system for salaries based on seniority. Restaurants would probably have less competition because I would like to remove local restaurants that are not operated by anyone but locals in order to increase foot traffic to restaurants. So it would boost, like, you know, the small enterprises and create jobs for everyone around us. Another thing is with the whole legal racing thing I mentioned before, I think it would be a really cool idea for the community, like the whole city. It would be legal races where cops, you know, everyone else and like citizens could all just get together, you know, and put their hair down and hang out. No drama, no nothing, just cars and racing in a legal avenue, a legal way. And I think that'd be really, really beneficial just to building relationships between LEOs and criminals and people who are in between. Another thing that as a state rep I would do is definitely increase medical pay, because I've talked to a lot of medical professionals and their job is extremely stressful. So much of the time that they have to clock out just to take a break. But when they clock out, they're losing money. So if we increase their pay to a reasonable wage, they could not feel the pressure to have to clock out, because they're already making enough money. And also, in turn, we'd be incentivizing new hires for a Mount Zoner that's struggling to maintain, active employees. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Representative Lawson.
So the truth is, because I am the only representative currently on stage, I think it's safe to say there would not be any dramatic changes, and I'm not going to make any promises that are, outside the scope of what I can do. What I can promise is the consistency that I've already offered. I have already helped people who are lost, who are aimless, who are rudderless, and have great ideas, but want to bring them to the government stage. I think that's something I'd continue doing and continue doing a great job at. Continue working with citizens like Dr. James Wilson or Fred Yarlsberg to create systems like the Department of Human Services or the labor unions of San Andreas. I think a lot of it would be continuing to identify the great ideas in the state brought to me by citizens, to act as a bridge between departments, and to otherwise just make sure that the machine runs well. Because the truth is, being state representative is a lot of boring work. It's a lot of tedium, but it's important, and it's something I think I've proven I'm quite good at.
Thank you, Representative Lawson. Mr. Taylor.
Okay, so for me, I definitely want to fight for employee rights, increase the wages out there, allow business owners to be able to determine the pay wages that they would like to pay their employees with the funds that they rightfully have. I'd also like to be able to increase transparency of government by providing more wide range of office hours, allowing people to come in, ask the questions that they need to have answered, providing education out to the general public to know what the government is actually doing for them. I'd also like to revisit the opportunity to increase speed limits throughout the city. As it stands right now, it's a bit slow. even for my liking, and I don't drive that fast. And then finally, I would like to see if we can get increased funding for our medical services. As my colleague over here mentioned it before, our medical services do an amazing job out there, but they are overworked and underpaid, and we need to make sure that they are rightfully compensated for the work that they do. Thank you.
Alrighty, thank you, sir. We're going to be moving to our last question here. We'll start with Mr. Nark. This question is just meant to for your constituents to get to know you a little bit better on a personal level. So, starting with you, Mr. Nark. Do you believe pineapple belongs on pizza?
Oh, geez.
Yes.
Well, you know,
The real
I might get thrown off
questions.
the stage, but the answer is absolutely. I mean,
Yes.
Good choice.
You're fucking wrong.
I mean, if you don't have that extra little sweetness on your pizza, I don't know what you're eating, eh?
What? Agreed.
Mo, we're
So yeah, what's that?
Fuck you, Mo.
Is that all you had, Mr. Nark?
Yeah, sure. We'll go with that.
Okay. Mr. Stanislav.
If pizza belongs to pineapple, yes, it does belong to pineapple. It's good. It's food. It's top class deluxe food. Thank you.
Mr. Nash.
I can't speak on pineapple, but I think salmon belongs on pizza and in your office. Thank you.
You know what? I'd try it at least once.
No. Thank
Representative
you for
Lawson.
this fantastic,
Oh, I
important
feel
question.
sick, man.
I think I do not like pineapple on my pizza, but here's the beauty of pizza. You can order like 6 of those suckers. Get a meat lover, get one with pineapple. You know, I think pizza belongs to everyone. And
What if we're
I understand some people like pineapple on their pizza, so who am I to judge?
Spoken like a true politician. Exactly. What if we're poor? God.
Mr. Taylor.
Well, I can't disagree. I think that pineapple belongs on pizza just like any other topping out there. If you want your pineapple, you get your pineapple on your pizza. I've not personally tried it, but I think after this, I'm definitely going to go right from here and go get a pineapple pizza.
Pepperoni and
Let me
pineapple.
come with.
Pick a
pineapple?
side.
Pepperoni and pineapple.
Oh, okay.
Ham and pineapple.
Pepperoni.
What up,
Mr.
Vegeta?
Benning.
Hawaiian.
Hi, you know what? It has to do with personal choice. Personally, I don't like pineapple on pizza. There's better things to put on it, like bacon, sausage,
Wow.
mushrooms, the good stuff. And besides, if
So,
you
like,
want a
pineapple
good
can be
pizza, it's
added.
all in the water,
Mushrooms,
not
not pineapple.
not the rest of the stuff.
That's
The water
right, you
gives the
tell 'em.
flavor.
You tell him.
Okay, a pizza with bad sauce isn't a good pizza, so I'll give you that.
Alrighty. Well, that concludes the questions that I had picked up from your constituents. The little one at the end was from myself. I want to thank all the candidates for coming out today. I appreciate your time. I know there were some hard questions there, especially the last one, but that's going to wrap everything up on my end. Can we get a round of applause for the candidates, please?
Be nice, Puck.
I'm gonna riot against whoever doesn't like pineapple on pizza. Don't be left in the dark. Vote James Nark.
Yeah, that's right. You
I
tell him.
like the Ukraine
You
one.
tell him, Dan White.
Did they already do?
Yeah, I think I'm definitely gonna
Highway
vote
speed
for
limits to
Nash.
120.
Let me out. Are they doing public questions?
Excuse me.